Good evening, everyone. Welcome in to episode 24, number 24 of the Fuzed Relativity Podcast. Chris here, Saturday night. Hope everybody's doing well. John, how are you doing this evening?
It's been a painful weekend.
We heard a little bit about your struggles with some animation.
Yeah, animation, Inkscape, it just Minecraft, although that's less relevant.
They all conspired against you.
Yes. Me and computers have not gotten along this weekend.
Well, fortunately, we are still sitting in our new podcast booth up in space, looking down at the Earth. It's a much better view. Still fresh.
Yeah, the Earth looks cool. The Earth looks, the Earth looks, from there, the Earth actually looks nice and peaceful. There's no stress there.
I never made it to look like Earth.
Oh, I just figured blue planet.
Yeah.
Earth.
Yeah. I was a little Earthist. You know what? I apologize for all planets. I apologize for my Earth-centric viewpoint as a humanoid.
Well, Mambo number 18, I'm assuming that's a Lou Bega reference.
Well, everybody remembers Mambo number 5, and that was like over 20 years ago. So I figured in that amount of time, there's been at least 13 other Mambos. So I figured I'm doing it. I'm doing the Mambo number 18. You just can't see because it's a podcast. So you'll have to imagine.
And all our viewers
mamboing. This whole podcast, I'll be mamboing number 18. Occasionally, I'll slip back to number 5 to throw a shout out, but it's going to be mainly 18.
Okay, well, we're holding you to it, Kirk.
Done.
Well, hey, Kirk, I wanted to start the show off because we're pretty excited about it. Me and John did get our designs in for the Javelina Toss t-shirt.
I think just to specify, this all happened after the podcast last week. So while we were kind of in the post-podcast just talking, we kind of had the idea to make it a competition to see who could design a decent shirt for one of the jokes that Kirk had in his Kirk's Corner.
Amazed on the speed. Literally in a week's time, a joke I came up with about the Olympics, and now we're going to see, I don't know, that seems like nice turnaround time, guys.
Yeah, well, wait till you see the designs, because mine are very simple, but I'm standing by them. John's, I'm sure, is a little more intricate. But, John, we can start with mine if you want.
I have them all up at the same time. I figured I would let Kirk kind of, it's going to be obvious whose is whose, but I figured he could take a guess. So here,
No, here I'm picking just a slide pops up and it just says finger paint. I'm like, I'm guessing that's Chris thought that's what finger painting was, that he just drew the words. But okay, anyway.
All right, so anyway, yeah, here are the shirt designs we came up with for Javelina Throw. Now, I was going to say, for those who, because Chris has had to explain the joke to a few people now, Javelina is and Kirk, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a type of pig that is common, like, in the Southwest, like Mexico.
Yeah, a desert wild boar with tusks, a little smaller than the bigger wild boars, but just, wild pig in the desert, basically.
They're mean. They stink.
Yeah, they do not smell good, and you do not. They will charge you, and they'll literally. I've been on people said when they're out hunting, just being treed by a javelina, where they have to just run up a tree to get away from this thing. So yeah, nasty things. So the idea that an Olympic event would be throwing one, a ham hucking good time. Oh man.
So which one's your favorite?
I like I think the ham hucking good time caught me, and it's also too, for some reason, the javelina isn't fighting, like he just seems to have given up, where he's just like, all right, I guess I'm getting tossed. Like, there's something kind of amusing about that, I think. Or there, he's like on the same team. He practiced too. He wants to win the gold.
And I'm just curious, Kirk, could you read what was inside the speech bubble on the second one?
Oh, is that damn autocorrect?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good joke. That's nice.
See, that's what I was saying. I wasn't happy with how mine looked.
In fairness, John, yours is a lot more. I like the turning the javelina into a javelin. That's a good idea. I went with
it makes it kind of skinny, it makes it look more like a rabbit.
Yeah.
I told Kirk that I had come up with a tagline, and it's funny how my brain works. When we decided to do this shirt design, I started thinking about pigs, and then I thought of ham hocks, and then of course a ham huck and good time was born.
See, that's what I was saying. I'm like, Chris's is way funnier than mine. I just put in more effort to the drawing of it.
If you just fatten yours up, and then if we can like throw in one of those, if you just combine it, you know what I mean? Like you fatten yours up, and then you put in one of the ham hucking good time, and then boom, it's the best of both worlds.
All right. Well, I think we can do that, Kirk. Yeah, John's doing it as we speak.
He's not even going to be here for the rest of the show. He's do.
Sadly, you sent me just alphas, so I can't.
Yeah, you can't touch mine. But Kirk, we will.
There we go.
I think what we will do is go ahead and mix the two together, because I can send John or vice versa the file, and then we should be able to get those put together and get you a shirt that you can wear around town. Should be a fun time.
That would be awesome. And then at some point, if we could like shrink it down and like instead of like the Izod alligator, like it's just that logo, that would be hilarious. I would definitely wear that collar shirt. Is that a javelina you're throwing? Yes.
Well, I'm glad we got that out of the way. I feel like the ham hucking good time won, except we ended up in the end, we're going to merge them together. So, John, we'll call this one a tie.
Sounds good.
Good effort all around.
Hey, 1 week, you can't argue too much, right?
For that speed, where else are you going to go, folks? Come on. What do you think? No, good. It was good effort. Like honest, and I like it. Like it's just once again, it's nice to collaborate artistically. You're just your thing and your thing, mesh it together, and then it's the better thing. It's it's like a band or something.
So I have a few things that we can talk about this week, and I think hopefully they should fill our time, because well, that's what we got. So first off, I wanted to talk about in the past, we've talked about automation and how John specifically thinks that everything is going to go to automation.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, you can argue that it is already on its way, but a question that was kind of posed to me was, what are we going to do about all of the waste that comes from that, such as batteries? When they die, what do you do with the batteries? Electric cars specifically have big battery packs, and once they go away, what are you going to do with those? Because you can't really dispose of them. Like, you can't just throw them in the landfill like you would trash. And what's the implication of all the waste garbage that we're going to come across with these automated units?
So, as far as Tesla batteries go, the batteries themselves are reused in their solar home thing. So they're already recycling the Tesla batteries, which lithium in itself is not a great resource to begin with because it's not exactly ethically mined.
Well, yeah,
And
it all comes from like one area, and they use a lot of child labor to dig it up.
but there's also a lot of lithium in a lot of other products that we use, like cell phones, or just batteries in general. It's one of those things that it's would be hard to get around. Not impossible, and there's already solutions that are available. For instance, at where I work, we have two types of batteries for the devices we use. One uses capacitors, and the other one uses the traditional lithium ion. And capacitors, although they have some significant disadvantages, they are still probably going to end up becoming the go-to. Now, I guess the biggest disadvantage with a capacitor-based system is they're bigger and they discharge energy much faster. So that's why we don't see capacitor-based phones or anything like that. They would charge super fast. Like you could charge your phone in, 10 minutes, but it would only last an hour. So it's not exactly ideal for typical everyday consumer stuff. As for automation, let's say you have a warehouse full of those little drones that scoot around and deliver everything. Those could absolutely potentially be run on capacitors because capacitors charge super quick and they could be charged while they're,
There's a
picking up.
charging station, right? Just boom,
Well,
and they're boom.
Well, charging station or inductive charging when they're stopped to pick up items or whatever. The infrastructure, it would take a little bit of money to get everything to a non-lithium based, because I looked it up beforehand because I wasn't entirely sure. And capacitors are made of silver, aluminum, and then have a fabric like mylar in between. So I'm assuming we're still using rare earth resources, but I believe they are at least recyclable, unlike lithium, which I don't think is recyclable once it's been used.
So the majority of these the electric car batteries they die in 2 or 3 years or something, and then they just sit in the landfill.
No.
Not...
Well, look at the lead acid batteries that we have now for our cars. Those typically, that's why you have to return them, or they want you to return them, is so that they can be recycled, pull the lead out, get what they can out of it, and then reuse it. The Tesla batteries, I believe, are good for up to 10 years, or should be good for up to about 10 years. And then afterwards, they recycle them as a home power bank, basically. Because the current needed to run your house is a lot less, and I don't remember the exact, if it's the amps or the volts that the battery can put out or what it is. But it's not enough to run a car, but it's more than enough to run the electric grid in your house.
If I could just jump here and say, Chris, could you just shut the hell up? Seriously, Mr. Yapper over there. Are you awake?
Hey,
are you napping with the baby?
I'm just listening to the conversation because I think it was a novel question about what happens to all of the garbage once your Tesla runs out of, your battery pack goes out. What do you do with it? Because you can't just pick it up and throw it away. Now, if like Tesla is a different scenario because they're the only, not the only ones, but they're the ones front and center with electric cars and battery technology, and eventually they're going to have to come up with a way to reuse this stuff, or they're going to have to find a different way to produce electricity for their cars.
Nuclear.
Well, I hope.
Look, people driving around with a little nuclear warhead on their car, bashing into each other because they're texting.
But I guess the thought is like, so if you had, now metal, I guess, isn't as big a deal. If you have, you can always recycle metals, so robots and things, once they live past their useful life, you could just melt them down and remake something else. So I guess the only waste product that you would have to worry about would be battery packs. And as far as capacitors are concerned, the only thing I'm really worried about is they're a little more dangerous than a battery pack.
Yeah, it's... Sorry, I'm thinking.
It's got a gambling problem and it'll knife you.
Well, they're just a little bit more, because they're a little more volatile, they store energy and release it a lot faster than a battery. So, you just have to be a little more careful when you're working around them is all.
Less stable? Just a little, or just...
I don't know if stable is the right word. I think it's just the way it works is a little different. Like, case in point, I was recently working on a air conditioning unit for an RV, and there are 2 capacitors inside of the unit, and you have to be very careful when you're working around them because you have to kind of discharge them completely before you touch them because they store a lot of energy, and even once the units, you can have no power going, you could potentially still get shocked even though there's no power because this thing's still storing energy. So it's just a little bit more sketchy, I guess.
Well, I mean, any battery that... Well, the biggest danger with lithium is lithium reacts to oxygen. I don't know if you've seen any of those videos, Kirk, where someone, stabs a lithium pack and it just bursts into flames.
No.
Yeah, so if you were to take the battery out of your phone and puncture it, it would just burst into flames just because lithium reacts so violently with oxygen.
Okay.
And yeah, same with the lead acid batteries. Like, it's just, there's always going to be a risk with shocking, and that's why I kind of think capacitors will eventually help. I don't know. It could go. Go ahead, Kirk.
Well, just I actually just a quick funny battery story. When I was doing stand up, we were doing a show where it had a wireless microphone, so it had a 9-volt battery. And during the show, it started to peter out, so I had to go get a 2-pack. So anyway, I had I put a 9-volt battery in my front pants pocket, and then we went out, and then I fell asleep, and then I woke up the next morning, and we're gonna go cook some breakfast, and I'm in the grocery store, and I spaz out because there's this burning sensation from my pocket because my keys, I guess, they connected the circuit, and it started to burn. It was so goddamn hot. So I'm just like, it's like 8 a.m, and I just completely spaz out Kramer, reach into my pocket and just fling a 9-volt battery down the rest of the aisle at the grocery store. I did not see that coming.
Yeah, that's...
Neither did anybody in the grocery store.
Yeah, just if you can't, my pants are on fire. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody. That's not a good thing that's not going to get you sympathy. Whatever, pervert. Like, no, literally. Ow.
Where were we?
You were talking about batteries, or the camper.
Oh, the capacitor. That's correct. Well, I guess the main thing would be for that argument of what's going to happen to all of the waste products would be switching to a different source that can be recyclable, or reusing as much of the lithium battery as you can, even if it's going into a solar bank for powering your home.
Well,
it's just one of those. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I was trying to figure out if lithium is, or if they do recycle lithium, but
it seemed like a good question that was posed to me, and I thought about it, and I said, well, I wonder what the implication would be for those types of battery packs specifically, because that's most of what you're not going to be able to recycle. So it makes sense, I guess, if you can reuse it. Lithium isn't recyclable, so.
Yeah, what they're recycling, they're trying to get the cobalt, the nickel, the copper, and the aluminum back. I guess, well, I think the biggest thing is we don't have the necessary infrastructure in place to recycle lithium, is what it's sounding like. Because I think it is recyclable, or at least partially recyclable. It's just, yeah, it looks like it's just the technology is just not there, because we really haven't been using lithium ion batteries for long.
I think it's definitely recyclable, because I know radio keeps playing it a lot. So, come on, Nirvana joke? Nothing.
I do like lithium ion batteries, though. They're so much better than the old nickel cat batteries. So.
Oh, and nickel back. Poof, don't get me started. Way better than that battery.
Well,
Mambo number 18, you've got a very heavy music vibe tonight. I like it.
I was at a fair and I saw a live band, so I got music on the mind.
Just no Spice Girls.
Yeah, stay away from that. John, you already brought it up.
No, we covered them. I'm not going to suggest that your name would have been Cumin. No, okay. There's been hot wings.
The other facet to this is, you were also talking about recycling, and I know Kirk brought it up just before we started the podcast, but Kirk was talking about recycling of plastic and cardboard and all that other stuff, correct?
Just all the normal, when you order stuff on Amazon, the stuff surrounding the stuff you order, the packaging seems excessive.
Well, it is. I bought something today, and it came in a big ass box, and just, tiny little thing. Well, not tiny, but yeah. I don't see, because I know Amazon itself is not automated, and even though, so the video I watched about the autonomous drones in the warehouses in England, part of the problem they have is that the packaging is not designed for robots; it's designed for humans. And
I heard the drones are already trying to form a union. That's how bad the job is. Anyway, okay, sorry.
But I think that's going to be part of it, is once there is a more system in place.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So robots aren't going to be stepping all over your box through delivery. So technically they won't need as much packaging, because it's not going to get damaged touching multiple humans' hands.
And it's, the traditional way of getting groceries is put them in the bag, which a lot of places have been switching to the paper bags, or the the cloth bags that you bring in, and then you have to carry it home. But that's only because you have to carry it everywhere. If it was just delivered in a, let's go old school milk delivery. I don't remember, or I don't know if you ever had that, Kirk, but for a little while we still had milk delivery. And
no, but some people here, I see the boxes on their front door. I see it today.
Yeah, but that's, in essence, that, especially milk delivery, that was almost a zero, completely zero waste, but it was a very close to zero waste because you got the glass milk bottles, you use the milk, put the glass back, and then they would take the glass and I would assume they would sterilize it and reuse it.
Right. Hose it out, use it again.
But something similar to that could come with, autonomous deliveries from Walmart. They load it into a crate.
Yeah, plastic tub, and then you put it out and they come pick it back up and reuse it.
Yeah. Plastic or wood or, some sort of, who knows, mushroom. There was a story not long ago where someone made a boat out of mushrooms.
What?
That's a good way to use mushrooms.
Definitely don't put them on salads. Put bacon on salad, then I'll eat salad. Don't mushroom.
Don't try and trick me and say it's the meat of the vegetable world. I don't give a crap. They're not good.
That seems extra insulting. Yeah, it's like the meat of the. No, that's like a weird vegetable plant thing. You are incorrect.
And you can only eat like a quarter of the varieties. So who was the guy who was like, nope, can't eat it? Yeah.
Right. That one will kill you. That one won't. So it doesn't, for that risk reward factor, it doesn't taste that good to go, yeah, I'll roll the dice.
And since we're on it, this is a huge jump off of anything, but I cannot overstate how gross beets are. I hate them. And anyone who eats beets is disgusting. Okay.
What about people who beat box? Is that?
Well, they're disgusting too, but for other reasons.
They don't turn your teeth red or whatever it does.
I cannot state how much I hate beets. And I'm glad I have this podcast to let the world know how much I hate them.
So down with beets, basically.
It's one of the building blocks of my marriage, Kirk.
That's the day I knew she was the one. She said, you know what? Beets suck. Yeah. Oh. And then I heard the harp.
Anywho. Nice little rabbit hole we just jumped down there. That was fun.
More like a divot.
Well, okay, so you've kind of made some pretty compelling arguments there for reducing of waste. And so the theory would be that if you could figure out how to completely recycle lithium ion, we wouldn't have any problems. But finding a different way to power things would be the probably best solution for it. But I like the way you posed that, so well done.
Well, there's a lot of ways that it could be changed and altered. I mean, hell, we could potentially go slot cars instead of autonomous cars, if you really thought about it.
Cars, that sounds dirty.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right? With the
like a remote control.
No.
On the track where you pull them backwards and then let them go, and then.
No. The ones where you lay them in they have that metal fin or brush that sits on the track, and it gets electricity from the track, and they don't have batteries in them themselves.
And then it just drives themselves through the electricity, Is it self-driving kind of thing?
I would assume so. I don't know where I was going with that. As soon as you said that, I was like, slot cars could work too.
Let's call Elon. I'll shoot him a text tomorrow. I'm sure he'll respond.
That Neil deGrasse Tyson will vouch for us because he's been on our podcast before. Just fudge it. I mean, he's been mentioned, so technically he's been on the podcast. So
well, he wrote us a letter. I mean,
he reached out to us.
Yes.
So clearly we've got a leg to stand on.
switching over, John, since we've gotten off track with what we were talking about, the other thing we were discussing was it is apparently... Sorry, I drew a blank on what I was going to say. Live stream, what can you do? Sometimes it happens. But I had a mind-breaking moment the other night that really just made my head hurt. I was looking up the speed of light to find out what a light year was, because I wanted to see what a light year was and basically what it had to do with anything. And turns out a light year is a really, really long distance. And so, yeah, it kind of blew my brain to think about how big space actually is.
Well, and that's why when we were talking about it, I don't even remember how long ago it was, but I was talking about light seconds. And then that's why we measure stuff in the local sphere in light seconds or minutes, because it's, 8 light minutes from the sun to Earth. And it's, yeah, when you grasp how large a light year is, it's unfathomable. Like our nearest star, Proxima Centauri, is, what is it, 7 light years away?
I think when it gets to these numbers in this side, like it just your brain can't wrap around it. It's like when they're talking about the debt, it's in the trillions. You're like, that number doesn't mean anything to me. I know it's very big, but
it doesn't exist.
That's exactly. It's hard to put in any kind of perspective of, well, if that was my checking account, I would do that. No.
Well,
4.2, sorry, light years.
To perspective, Kirk, light travels in space at 671 million miles per hour. So a light year is the amount of time it takes, or the amount of distance it takes light to travel in 1 year. So we're talking, astronomical. Of course, I said astronomical numbers. Like, it doesn't even make sense.
If it's a leap year, is it a leap light year? That'd be a little more, wouldn't it? That'd be a little faster. Be a little extra.
So
scientifically, come on, that's a valid point.
To give it some perspective, Voyager, which is traveling away from our sun at 17.3 kilometers per second, it would take Voyager 73,000 years to get to Proxima. Oh, that's Proxima Centauri. But all the same.
You know how many Dilbert desk calendars that is? So many Dilbert desk calendars.
Well, and the reason my mind broke a little bit was just because thinking about the vastness of that, it hurt. It's one of those moments where your brain just kind of fizzles a little bit, because I don't think we can really comprehend just how big that is.
No.
And so,
well,
yeah, it just, like, my mind just short circuited when I thought about that.
So just to put it into perspective, like if you were to get in your car and there was a road to the moon and you could just get on the highway and drive to the moon, it would take 6 months.
Just to drive to the moon, just cruise controlling at 75 the whole time. Okay.
Yeah. At 100 miles per hour, like if you were really hustling, it would take 3 months. Once that's the thing that makes space travel kind of hard to comprehend, because you look at the Apollo lunar landings, and it's like, oh, they were, went back in little over a week. I actually don't know how long they were on mission, but I think it's a day or so to get to the moon. And
didn't we say it's 3 days?
Was it 3 days?
I think 3 days. I remember that.
3 days
Yeah.
to get to the moon.
But at that scale, it doesn't seem far away. It's like, oh, 3 days. Yeah, that's long, but it's not,
That's a road trip. That's doable. I've
Yeah.
3 days. Yeah.
But when you put it into the perspective of, you get in your car and you're driving at 60 miles an hour and it's going to take you 6 months, that brings it more into the perspective of, holy shit, that's really far away.
Yeah. Oh,
And
that's not even anything close to what I'm talking, not what I'm talking about specifically, but I'm saying like the vastness that we are talking about is so much bigger than that. And, 6 months is a long time to drive your car. Well, forget trying to drive to Mars.
Well, yeah. And the thing that, well, okay, this one's a little different, but it would take 228 years to drive at 70 miles per hour to get to Mars. 4,000 years if you were walking. I love the internet. It's full of such random information.
That's almost like a wagon train back in the old day, because not everybody who starts it is going to get there at the end. Like, it's going to be the next generation that's going to make it to California or wherever the pioneers are going.
So, Kirk, I really want you to hold that thought that you just had, because that was going to be part of our next segue.
I'll segue now.
Well, I'm not done. So,
okay.
I was just going to say, like, on the topping off the point of how vast our universe is, it just still shocked me that we will never see a centimeter of our galaxy, because we don't have the time that it takes to travel to these places unless something like a warp drive is created to where you could travel at the speed of light. And
faster. It would have to, it'd have to be faster. Because even at the speed of light, to get to our nearest star would take 4 years.
Yeah, but 4 years is at least doable in the sense of, time comparatively to, 4,000 years. But I digress. It's just, if you really stop and think about that, just the amount of holy crap that's out there in space, it'll change your perspective a little bit, I think.
Right. And just the vastness of it, but still 98% still thinks that you have an odor. And all of the space somehow.
Well, and I'm pretty sure that that's how the aliens know we're here, is they can just follow the little trail,
Earth is over there. Oh, Chris walked by. Remember those old magazine samples for cologne? Chris walked by one of those, so he sort of smelled different for a bit, but he still smells bad.
Anywho, so we were talking, Kirk, you brought up a very good point. The one I told you to hold on to was the generational idea, because John had posed to me yesterday that might be the way that we would potentially be able to survey some of our solar system, would be with what he called a generational ship.
Well, and it's a very popular trope in science fiction shows, movies. It's just a ship where you're going to die on, and you just live. So it has all the resources for you to, to stay self-sustaining. So it's like a biodome almost. and its sole purpose is just to fly through space until you get to your target, whether it be 4,000, 8,000, 20,000 years away. That's the whole point of the ship, is just by the time it gets to where it's going, you're 2,000 generations in. They probably don't even know why they left in the first place. It's all folklores and stuff.
Does it make that sound? Is it more of a vroom vroom? Okay.
It's an interesting thought though, because especially you didn't bring up that point, but the thought that they might not even know why the heck they were on that ship to begin with. 20,000 years later, they just know that they're on a ship. They're traveling through space, going somewhere.
Yeah, and again, that falls into the trope that a lot of shows use. It's these ships are set out. I'm trying to remember what show I'm thinking of. I think it was Stargate. And they just happen upon this ship that the inhabitants were so far gone from the originals that they had no idea they were even on a ship. They just thought it was, their planet. And yeah, it's as of right now, it's the only way any human will ever get out of our solar system, would be on a generational ship.
That's such a bummer too, because
go ahead.
I was just going to say, as we've been doing this podcast for 24 episodes, I feel like it's kind of opened up my perspectives on a lot of things. But looking at the grand scale of our solar system, man, it would be cool to see what's out there. What's outside of what we can see.
That's deep. That's deep.
Yeah.
That's like you just blew my mind.
Well, and that's and not to bring up aliens again, because we've talked about them before, but this is why I think there's a lot of hope that aliens exist and they are visiting us, because that's the only other way we're getting anywhere in this galaxy, is if aliens show up, and we're like, hey, you guys you're at the point, welcome. Or, the more likely is you're under our regime now, so. But
I think about peaked in our rocket knowledge and we need some help from aliens?
No, well, that's a difficult, not difficult, but
look, if I'm playing fantasy Alien League, who do I bet on? Do I bet on the no, I was kidding. So yeah, what do you...
The problem is, Kirk, not the problem, but the theory is if we do have aliens visiting us, then they would have figured out the technology needed to travel through space at an insane amount of speed. And that would be the technology that we would want to harness so that we could do the same.
Well, yeah.
Right. So they have the hyperspeed that we need. We have a need for hyperspeed. It's like Top Gun, but not.
There is theoretical, and I think I've talked about this too, but science fiction shows in general typically lend to science fact. Or, not necessarily fact, but they get the ideas rolling, and then people that are very smart work on those and come up with theories around them. Warp drive from Star Trek is theoretically possible under our known knowledge of physics. NASA's even, I don't remember if it was NASA itself, but they mocked up a spaceship that would be theoretically capable of warp flight if we had what was necessary, which we don't because it's all theoretical. So will we eventually be capable of faster than light travel? It depends on who you ask, because there's a lot of people that say absolutely not, there's no way to go faster than the speed of light, you're all idiots. And then there's the other side that are like, just dream.
Well, in under that scenario, whether we get there or not, what's the problem with dreaming about it? And if people don't think about it, then they're not going to try and advance technology to the point where we could potentially travel faster than the speed of light. I still am on the other side of the fence because I think that there's no way that humans could travel that fast just because spaghettification and all that jazz. But
it's so that's the thing. You're not traveling faster than the speed of light. So let me see if I can break this down for you.
Good luck.
What a warp drive would do is you're moving at whatever velocity you were moving at when you started flying. So let's say you're going 1,000 miles an hour and you activate the warp drive. What the warp drive does is it compresses space-time in front of you and it expands it behind you. So you're not actually moving. What's moving is the space around you. So you get to the point where you're going faster than light, but you're not actually going faster than light. You're still going 1,000 miles per hour. It's just that space is moving around you faster than the speed of light. And that may be completely wrong. I had to come put that on the spot.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say I believe you because I understood what you said, but it sounds like a science fiction movie to me. So,
well, I mean, as of right now, that's all it is. It's a theory that's has its roots in science fiction movies, specifically a TV show.
They went plaid.
It's. I'm only laughing because me and Chris were talking yesterday, and we brought up Spaceballs.
Oh, that's a great one. It doesn't get much funnier than it's up there. John Candy as a dog. Come on, not much more likable than that.
Because Chris was talking.
We were talking about some sort of reusable or being able to
generate
sustain yourself in space. And I was like, oh, so all you have to do is replenish your nitrogen or whatever gas we were talking about. Xenon. And I was like, oh, so you just roll up to Titan and you drop a big vacuum down there, suck up some xenon, and then be on your way.
Yep. She went from suck to blow.
I was thinking of like a shot back, but then he brought up Spaceballs, and I liked that way better.
Well, I mean, in fairness, it's an iconic movie. Almost more iconic than Star Wars. Because I don't remember, I don't know if you know this, Chris. Time for John to embarrass himself again. Back when we were growing up, for whatever reason, I saw Spaceballs first. I'm assuming it's because our dad just ended up renting Spaceballs and I happened to watch it with him. Because I was only like, probably 6 or 7 at the time. And then at some point we watched Star Wars, and I was like, well, why did they rip off Spaceballs? And
funny.
Well, in fairness, this was before I obviously knew A, what a parody was, and B, well, what general movies were like anyway. Like, we just watched whatever was on TV. So yeah, for a good while, I thought Spaceballs was the original and Star Wars ripped it off.
Hey, I actually prefer that, because if I'm being honest, I've never actually made it through a whole Star Wars movie, because it's just not my cup of tea. I don't know. I fall asleep every time I try and watch it, so.
Yeah, it's not
but
for
Spaceballs, you make it through every time.
Oh yeah, that one's good.
I mean, anything by Mel Brooks, though.
I mean, the dog's name was Barf. What do you got? I mean,
just the combing of the desert And then it was two black with an afro pick, and I'm like, you son of a bitch. That is such a stupid. So stupid.
You know what's funny?
Pizza the Hut.
You're right. Yeah. Oh, you're delicious.
You know, it's funny how things kind of happen by coincidence, because I was on Reddit. I want to say it was it had to have been yesterday, and the dude that played the guy that was combing in the desert had a TikTok or something to that effect, and he's like, I've had such a long career. I was on Star Trek for a whole season or a whole run, and the only thing I'm remembered for is one line that was, "We ain't found shit." And I didn't realize it at the time, because that line is so iconic in and of itself. But he played one of the main characters on Star Trek Voyager through the whole run. I never knew that.
I've never seen Star Trek, so
yeah, it's a different one.
I just gotta, me and Kirk were talking at some point in the week, and we're like, yeah, John brought up the replicator or whatever, we were supposed to know what it was, and we were both just like, sure, Star Trek, okay.
Well, I mean, even if you don't watch Star Trek, it's still an iconic enough thing that it should have been known.
Bet you could come up with three Star Trek inventions or weapons. One is false and two are real. We would have to try to guess. Could you do something like that?
I probably could, yeah.
This one is the confibrillator, and it makes everybody dance to Charleston. What? Yeah, okay, not that one. We would guess that would be the false one right away.
I think Spock and Klingon are like the two things I would get right. And William Shatner, if you said that.
Oh, I'm definitely doing this for next week.
All right, we could do a Shatner impression off too. That's just mandatory. So everybody come back next week with their best Shatner. All right.
I don't want to do that, Kirk.
Oh, come on.
No. That has to happen now. He doesn't want to do it. It's got to happen. Or channel your inner what's his name on Futurama?
You're talking about Raph?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zach Brannigan, that's it.
Or Brannigan.
Yeah. I was like, he's very heavily inspired by. Anyway.
Yeah. So, something for our listeners to look forward to next week is John's video or trivia of which Star Trek thing is real. It's part of the fun of doing a podcast is you never know where you're going to go. And we went from Javelina toss t-shirts to Star Wars trivia or Star Trek trivia, whichever star show.
I don't know whatever the kids are in. The star's something, right? That's what the kids are into.
Oh, there's Star Wars, Star Trek, Stargate.
There's a lot of stars.
A lot of stars. Yes.
Too many stars, in fact. Enough with the stars, am I right?
Well, I think, John, it's that time. I think we can switch over to Kirk's Corner and see what he's got going on over there this week.
Now, you're lucky. I managed to do something.
I think
we got something added.
Hey.
So is that Shoop, or is that one of the dogs from hell? Is that Cerberus? No.
8 hours of my pain. So yes, very close to the depths of hell.
Hey, and you got some flowers on the desk.
I got a nice vase. You know what? There might be water in the vase, so I could take the flowers out and drink that. So it's getting close.
I don't recommend that, Kirk. He's, it might not taste very good. You're probably pretty thirsty at this point, though. So
it's a little flowery stuff. I mean, it's like Potpourri. I bet it makes my breath smell better.
You had to mention Cerberus because, yes, it does.
It just looks very muscular and point on, and like, you know,
it's going to kill you. Yeah, it's more menacing than the geese.
I still think was it the first Tinker Cat that you came up with? I still think that one was the worst.
Oh, the demonic squirrel? Yeah.
Yeah, demonic squirrel. Yes.
It does. It has warped. It has changed. Thank God. It had nightmares though.
I think the first run of things that you put into Kirk's Corner are possessed, John. There's like a running theme. Some demons from hell.
Yeah,
there's something there.
He's working out some issues in my corner. Just calm it down. Just like blood, like it's just blood edge. I can't take any more jokes. It's like in blood. I'm like, is that about me? No. I don't know. I was stressed.
And John, I don't know how I've never noticed this before, but I like all the shadows in Kirk's Corner. Everything's got depth. I like it.
Well, I mean, that's just that's just Blender. You can put a cube on a blank canvas and it's going to have shadows because of all the lighting and everything. But thank you.
Yeah. You could have just taken credit for it.
Yeah, you could have. Right, we would have known the difference. But you could have said backbreaking. You know what? I had a kidney stone. I'd rather have a kidney stone than to do that again. But no, it was okay. You're welcome. Could have said that.
I'm about there with that dog model. Yes.
Okay. Well, thank good, nice, awesome. It's always cool to see the new animation pop in. So, this Kirk's Corner, I thought it would be basically it's sort of Kirk's ought to be. So these are invention ideas. Basically, I'm an idea guy. So if anybody wants to put any of these into practice, just cut me in 50%. I'm the idea guy. Somebody can make it happen. Okay. So are you guys ready for inventions from my brain? You ready?
Probably.
Man.
Wow, good enthusiasm. Okay, let's
don't oversell it.
Oh, all right, how about this? Instead of, like they have parole officers, I think there should be preemptive parole officers. So you just go around and you explain to people what a headache jail is. Like, look, there's going to be a lot of paperwork and it's going to be a bunch of pain in the ass. You have a parole officer. You're not going to like me. So just don't do it. What about that? Be preemptive with the kids.
I vaguely remember this as a kid, so
it's easier to stay out of jail. It's more of a pain in the ass. There's other bad stuff, but it's mainly a hassle. Just pitch it at the lazy kids.
Sure.
Okay. Or how about this one? I want to. Here's an idea. Do-rags specifically for Hindus. And of course they're called Hindu rags. Come on. That's $1 billion idea.
I'm on board.
You're going to be okay, so this is Shark Tank you're buying basically. So this is maybe okay, so we need to right now we're Minnow Tank because we don't have any power or pull or anything. So we need to work our way up to Shark Tank with these ideas. How about that?
Okay.
How about this? I like this one. It's a yoga mat that has just giant big black letters that say welcome. So it's a yoga welcome mat. I mean, it's friendly, it fits with yoga, and then you can set it outside, and if your friends are jerks, they'll wipe their muddy boots on it. You're ready for a giant, but you can also do a downward dog. It's versatile.
I think I would much rather it say namaste away.
Namaste. That's not yoga friendly. You're not getting in. Like, I'll get in touch with myself, but everybody back off. That's your vibe in yoga. Okay. All right.
Hey, in fairness, I'm not yoga friendly either. So.
Mm-hmm. All right. How about this? This one I have an invention. This is for pale history fans. It's a new business. It's called the John Wilkes Tanning Booth. Come on. I mean, if you like history and you're pale, you'll love getting a nice foundational tan after the guy who killed Lincoln.
Nothing.
Nothing. No, all right. Okay, there's 2 or 3 more. Okay. This is for older people. All of the older people going back to college, they are going to need to have an ice backpack. Okay, because they're old. You need that for your lower back. Look, it's heavy books. They're not used to it. No, you guys are a tough audience. Okay. All right. How about computer guy? This is right up your alley. Okay, I can reduce the majority of cyber attacks right now if we just upgrade malware into muy bienware. I'm not right. Come on, that beautiful. Mwah. Why would you have it after badware? That's why we're losing. Clearly, it's right in front of our face. John is stunned and he has so much rage with his computer knowledge and the annoyance. Like that. Yes, exactly. All right. Well, how about this? I'm starting a new social movement for all guys who got snipped. They got fixed. It's called the hashtag vasectomy2 movement. Come on, the vasectomy2. Come on. You can swap tails. But putting peas on your balls. Anyway, that was before the operation. Okay. Here's a great name for a political punk band. It's the Gerrymander and the Peacemakers. Come on, that's gerrymander, and peace is spelled with an IE because they're making pieces out of the legislation in the voting districts to screw over the electorate. Come on.
Kirk, I feel like this is the infomercial that I didn't watch at 3:30 in the morning when I was in college.
Oh, these ideas could be yours. You can invest in any of these.
For only 6 payments of $19.95.
Right. I think that's all. Oh, I got one. Here's just the last one was, I just think it's amazing how the Flash, the character the Flash, he doesn't have any Me Too complaints. I mean, his name is the Flash. You would think,
All right.
Nothing?
No, that one was good.
Come on, it's a comic book joke. If you don't laugh at it, no, but come on, that's right up your alley.
Yeah, and he didn't laugh. He just said that one was good.
Right. That was always good when you tell a joke and you're like, that's funny. I'm like, oh, usually is a way to
I
let
did
you know
laugh.
The other way.
It might have cut off, but I laughed.
All right. Well, next time, maybe a graphic with fireworks and explosions and a standing ovation. Can you have the geese give me a standing ovation and clap?
I think that goose in the front with the axe is just like, I can't wait, Kirk.
That's the original one too.
I know. He's been
there
plotting
the longest. Yeah, his anger hasn't dissipated. He hasn't gone anywhere. That's the creepiest part. I'm hoping my killer dog from hell will protect me against that killer. But that's going to be an epic battle.
John, and this may be I don't know how many people would know this reference, but your vase on the table reminds me a lot of, remember that cartoon like Asterix and Obelisk?
Oh, holy shit, it does. That was not intentional. It looks like Obelix.
Yep, it does. Just thought I'd throw that out there because
that's amazing.
It hit me. Yeah.
I want that in real life now. I'm going to do it.
Make it happen.
So...
Yeah, where are we going after? Are we going off topic?
No.
Yeah.
No.
No?
I wanted to show you guys and everyone that's watching this live or on YouTube what my hell was today. Partially with this dog. This is the what's driven me mad today. It is an animation I was trying to do of the dog walking.
like a dog on a golf course. Is that a sand trap?
So when I woke up this morning, I thought to myself, I've got, 12 hours ish till the podcast. I was like, I can do this animation because I wanted to do, and I have it loaded, the 30 seconds of you talking about Shoop and the geese and how the one just turned around and quacked at him and then walked off instead of flying away. And I wanted to do that animation. So I spent most of the morning working on, well, not this, because this was the later half, the last 3 hours. And I spent all day trying to figure out how to animate to do that little short 30-second clip of Shoop being quacked at by a goose and then waddling off. And this is all I got in 12 hours of working on this.
That's amazing. That story was from so many episodes ago too. That's amazing that you're still
yeah, that was one of the first 4 or 5.
All that dog wants, John, is a drink of water. What the hell?
Right. It just seems like you're teasing me with it.
More hell references. It's the embodiment of Kirk trying to get water.
It's never happening.
Even Shoop is feeling the pain of that one.
Yeah. Oh, can you put her ears down and make her lab ears? Can you give her lab ears instead?
I can absolutely do that. I was working with what I had.
I'm just guessing, judging by John's frustration with this, that he'll get
done with it.
No, he'll get it done when he gets his new computer monitor in. Because I'm assuming he threw a shoe at his.
Oh, it was close. Because this hurt.
I mean,
the dog's it looks fluid. It looks like a dog moving. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's not when I was doing this. I had the anatomy of a dog while it's walking, and I was doing everything. It's just the timing is just it doesn't. I'm perfectionist when it comes to my stuff. Part of the only reason I'm putting stuff out now is because I kind of am forcing myself to because of the podcast and because of everything else. So the amount of stuff that's wrong with this bugs me a lot. And this was only the last attempt that I did. The ones before it were even it took me a good hour just to get it to actually move its legs. Before it was just sliding across after I'd spent 10 minutes getting everything how I thought it would work, and then I went to go play it and it would just slide.
Well, it's kind of to me. It's when I'm writing jokes or a story or a script or something there's several. There's sort of here's the idea, where it's just sort of the story points and here's the 5 main things, and then it's fleshed out, and then it's recopied, and then each time it gets sort of honed down and better. You know what I mean? The fat gets trimmed. So I imagine it's the same thing.
No, I just hate everything I do and don't think it's good enough.
Well, luckily you're playing to 2 people who can't do this on a computer, so we think it's amazing. So it kind of works in your favor, I think.
Yeah, I just wish it looked better.
I'm pretty sure my wife says that too. So
when looking at you,
yeah.
Just wish that looked better. I'm right here. I know you. I'm glad you heard me. Ouch! It hurts.
All right, come on.
That's her argument. Look, I can't. Look, come on. You've seen you, so you can't get that mad that I'm annoyed.
Yeah, and then I say, yeah, you're right.
You got an excellent.
Touche.
Valid point, dear. Just slunk away.
Well, Kirk, I think we have a few minutes. Let's go off topic. Did you have something locked and loaded this week?
I just had a quick one. I saw a story. It was a woman in New York. She set the Guinness. It was a Guinness World Record for running 100 miles on a treadmill, and it took her 21 hours, 43 minutes, and 29 seconds. My thing was, I feel really bad for the guy who was waiting on her machine. He was just trying to start his day, and he's like, God, it's supposed to be a 30-minute limit, guys. Oh, she's running a Guinness book. I still have to get to work.
See,
I have to miss a day. You can let me run first. Just dick move, right?
See, as someone who used to run competitive, it feels weird saying competitively since I was always, almost last. That would suck. Like the difference between running on a treadmill versus running in outside is enormous. It's just so boring running on a treadmill.
Yeah, running in the same spot for 21 hours. Like,
see, I even had I was going to say I even had problem with track because I was cross country, so running 5 kilometers, it wasn't a big deal, but when you had to do a mile on a track, which was 4 laps, it just sucked. Like, because you'd go around once and it's like, well, I've got to go around 3 more times. And the 2 mile, I hated track in comparison to cross country.
You like the freedom of the
not
open track versus the closed circle.
Yeah,
oval.
The distances are all the same, but it's just when you're running around the circle, it's just like you do 1 lap and it's like, oh God, there's I know I have 3 more. Whereas in cross country, when you're running a race, it was you didn't know when or how far you were or where you're at. You just kind of ran until you realized you were close to the end, and yeah.
I just went ahead and moseyed. I just figured I'm gonna do this at my pace.
What are you, a cowpoke? You got chaps. You're gonna a tumbleweed's gonna blow in front of you. I'm gonna mosey on over there.
Pretty much.
Okay. Well, hey, what else is off topic other than a weird marathon treadmill?
I didn't have anything for this week.
Yeah, I really didn't either. The only thing I was going to bring up was I got a kick out of Elon Musk got a little sassy with Jeff Bezos this week and sent him a pretty funny kind of slap in the face tweet about his Blue Origin ships and how he's better. And
which it's not wrong.
Yeah. Every time he does that, I get a little satisfaction out of granted it's 2 billionaires duking it out over Twitter, but
billionaire bitch fight coming at you.
Yeah.
2021.
But basically, some German companies said they were going to invest a lot of money in hydrogen research. And Elon Musk came out and said, come on, guys, that's not the right place to be spending your money on research. Just ask Jeff Bezos. Which was essentially a shot at him saying, like, that guy doesn't know how to get into space either, so don't pay attention to him.
Oh, right. I see where he was going with it, because they're looking at hydrogen rockets instead of methane.
Yeah.
Which in theory would be more sustainable.
Yeah, but hydrogen's too unpredictable, right? Like it's a little more.
What? I think just the Germans are going to invest in Heineken. I think they heard it wrong.
Damn autocorrect.
It's you know what? That's just another false news. That's where the news just doesn't do it. It doesn't check its facts. It was Heineken.
Well, with that, I guess we'll end our show for the day.
Unless Kirk wants to do what he was talking about before the show.
No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that.
Oh, no. Yeah, that was for later.
Oh, for later.
Yes. Anyway, well, I guess we'll end it with that. Thanks everybody for listening. We enjoyed you here on our 24th, the second dozen episode. And next week is 25, which I'm told is a pretty big milestone. That's what usually people wait to get to before they celebrate.
We forgot something, Chris.
What did we forget?
Our competition.
Oh, yeah. All right, we got 2 minutes. We can talk about that. So basically, everybody, we decided between me and John that we are going to do a little friendly competition. And essentially, we're going back to our kind of 3D printing roots. And based on a theme, me and John are going to have a little
3D print off?
Print off, kind of. So we're going to take a random theme that I'm not quite sure how John's going to come up with that yet, but
neither am I.
He'll explain it when he figures that part out. We're going to take an idea from a random theme, and me and him are going to create and 3D print a basic board game of some kind based off of the theme that is randomly generated. And then we will post videos along the way on our YouTube channel and let kind of people decide which one they like better.
And how about can you guys make a potato peeler? And like that's part of the game where it's like you chase around potatoes and there's tater. I'm just spitballing here. I just came up with the potato peeler idea.
It's possible.
It all depends on John's random idea generation tool, but
I mean, I don't know how much I can further add to this, but it'll just be, we want to expand the realm of 3D printed games. Because right now, when you search, sure, there's some, but there's not a lot that you could print at home. And I'm assuming a lot of it's because of, people want money for their ideas. And we're still working out the kinks, but we feel that the basic games that we come up with, we're going to put out for free. So that everyone can enjoy them, and we can kind of grow the board game category of 3D printing, or at least that's the hope.
Yeah, people play it and they give you feedback, and it can become a little better.
Exactly,
it can help iron out the bugs.
And we both like to 3D print, and John comes up with good ideas. So I figure between the two of us, we'll have at least one decent board game, and who knows? I might even win. Probably not, but crazier things have happened.
Who knows? What's still happening right now? I'm mamboing.
Well done.
The show's about you've totally, and it's still going. But that was my pledge to the Fuzed Relativity audience. Mambo through the whole show. You're welcome, everybody.
And guess what? No one knows what Mambo number 18 is, so you can tell us you did it, and we will believe you.
Right. It may look like just me scratching my leg while I was eating chips. But it was a little fancier than that.
Yeah. All right, so hopefully everyone will stay tuned to our YouTube channel while me and John do get ready for this board game challenge. Also, we do have some videos on there. John's got some content on his channel, Fused Fiction. And then we also have the Fused Crafts channel, which his wife is part of, founder of.
Oh, yeah. And the highlights,
we
too.
We hijacked it.
The highlights of the podcast, too, on Twitter and YouTube, too.
We still have the highlights, one of my favorite parts, because Kirk does the highlights, and then I listen to it and get to hear all the funny parts of our show. I am still, probably next week or in the next 2 weeks, we will have our collaboration video on Fused Relativity Crafts plus
Fused
Crafts plus my input. We kind of have a cool concept going. We'll get that video up here soon. And lots of stuff going on. We're kind of doing our work, trying to give you guys some stuff to check out on YouTube, and we're having fun with it. So it's a win-win.
Amen.
Amen. So for me, Chris and John and Mambo 18 Kirk, I hope everybody enjoyed it, and we will see you here next week.